Hey y'all, it's your girl Allie Lee. So, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. So, today, let's jump into this video. We're going to be talking about the myths behind going natural and doing a big chop. So, the reason why I did a big chop, and I think that was about 4 or 5 years ago at this point, I did a big chop because I loved natural hair. Like anytime I saw the pictures of somebody with natural hair and their curl pattern, I just fell in love with it. So I decided I was going to transition. And if you don't know what transitioning is, you let your natural hair grow and you stop doing perms, and then you kind of manipulate the permed hair to kind of, if it doesn't already look like your natural hair, and you manipulate it so you can do hairstyles, or you could just do protective hairstyles and let it grow out. But the point of transitioning is to let your hair grow so that at a certain point when you feel comfortable, you can cut off the permed ends and now you're natural. I tried to do transition. It didn't work for me because, as you can see, my hair is very kinky and coily, so therefore my permed ends were just straight. So when I would try and put water and manipulate them, they would just be really wavy, and so that didn't work for me. So I decided to do the big chop because it just looked like I wasn't combing my hair at the roots. So that's one thing. The other thing I will say about going natural that no one tells you about, you look at pictures, you talk to people, you watch videos, and you think that your hair is going to look like somebody's curl pattern that you absolutely love. Your hair is not going to look like that. I was looking at people's hair patterns and thinking, my hair is going to look like this, and I'm going to be able to wear it in that style and do this with my hair. No. So I've learned, and I feel like going natural is also a part of learning to love yourself just a little bit more, or at least it was in my case. I won't say that for everybody because not everybody has that same problem, but I feel like I've learned to love myself more as I let my hair grow, and as I've come to accept my curl pattern for being as tight as it is and kinky coily. So when you look at other people's hair, just keep in mind your hair may not look like the next person. And that kind of spills into the myth number 2. I see a lot of people asking people what they use in their hair. You have to keep in mind that everybody's hair texture is different. So what works for me is not going to work for the next person. What works for them is not going to work for me. And it's really a trial and error. I can't really suggest anything to get around that. It's really a trial and error. I will say, don't use a lot of products. I made that mistake and bought a ton of products when I started going natural, and I had product buildup. For anybody who doesn't know what product buildup is, it's just you have a lot of different products built up in your hair, and it can cause your hair to be nappy and dread in some cases, like it did mine, because it was just like some of the stuff you can use in your hair has like a sticky consistency. Like the conditioner I was using was a little bit more, yeah, I'm gonna say sticky, so it was kind of like pressing my hair together. So be aware of that. And then just, have fun and learn to, love your journey as you go through it. I will say, if you also have family members who are natural, your hair is not going to look like them. I have 2 different, well, it could, but I'm just going to say for the most part, it may not. I have 2 natural, well, I want to say 2 because that's all I can think of right now on my mom's side that are natural. And I have a cousin on my dad's side that's natural. And what's funny is my cousin has very kinky, coily hair as well, but her hair stretches. So her hair might look like it's this long. It's called shrinkage. It looks like it's like this long, but if she pulls it, it's like all the way down here. My hair doesn't pull, especially not in the back, because I have 2 curl patterns. My hair in the back is a lot looser, so there's no pulling. It's a lot looser in the back, and it's very tight in the front. That is also very common to have different curl patterns as well. People have to tell you that. That's another reason why finding the right product is a trial and error basis, because you might have more than one curl pattern. But like I said, my cousin has very tight hair. I have one cousin, once her hair grew out a little bit more, her hair is like a lot looser. And then I have another cousin, and she actually is the one that has her hair is the closest to mine. The only difference I will say is I think my hair is just a tad bit thicker. Hers is longer because she keeps up with hers just a little bit more than I do. I don't detangle as much as I should. That's a no-no. But her hair is the closest to mine. Mine's just a little bit thicker. The products that I use, if you guys were interested, I use Cantu, I use Aussie. Now, mind you, like I said, I had product buildup before, so I don't recommend using anything that I've used altogether. I just kind of like switch off from things, which that's okay to do. You won't get product buildup, but switch off. So I use Aussie. I've used Cantu. I don't really like Cantu as much as I used to, so I don't really use that anymore. I use OGX, especially for shampoo purposes. I love them. I've used Essentials. I've used Whisper. That's really good. I would say stay away from heat. There's other alternatives that you could do as far as heat. Protective styles are very important. It not only helps grow your hair, but you know, it keeps it, you know, first of all, detangle. You don't have to detangle and manipulate and play with it all the time. So that's another thing I like about protective styles. On top of it, grows your hair and it gives your hair a break. Another important tip, it's not the only tip, but it's one of another important tip I found. If you want your hair to grow, it also makes your hair a little bit healthier. You should drink more water. The more water that you drink, it just kind of helps your hair as far as it growing. I don't really know the proper terminology to say that, but the more water that you drink, you know, healthy on the inside, you see it on the outside. It's the most basic explanation I can give you guys. But drinking a lot of water. Another misconception, you need to wet your hair every day. You don't have to wet your hair every day. Now you can use certain spritz to help you rejuvenate. I wouldn't say drown your hair in that. Don't do that. And you could use that like day 2, day 3 if you want to like take a twist out and kind of, you know, fix it up just a little bit in certain areas. You can do that, but don't drench your hair in that. And then the other thing I would say is if you still have product in your hair, you could put a little bit of water and it'll rehydrate the product and you can manipulate. For some of you who might be heavy-handed and do have a problem with product buildup, that's a great tip. Because if you still have product in your hair, no need to put mounds more on there. Just put a little water in a little spray bottle, spritz, and rejuvenate your hair. Oh, and another tip for sleeping at night. So if you have your hair in a fro, or if your hair naturally goes in a fro like mine, if I were to take this out, well, it would be, my hair would it's kind of formed because it's dry now. It's kind of formed to this puff shape that I did. But I would say that if you're gonna sleep, even if you don't have your hair done, I would do some braids or some twists before you go to sleep, just to keep it, you know, detangled, and you don't have to detangle it every single day. It also, well, for me, it also helps my hair with growing, because if I twist and braid every night, it helps my hair because my hair is detangled. That's one of the keys I feel like for my hair growing, for me personally, is me keeping it detangled. That's like the biggest thing, which sometimes I will admit I struggle because I do so much all the time and I'm always helping people. So I'm a little lazy, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. And lastly, I think the biggest myth that I want to talk about is like when you watch videos and you want to get ideas of hair, be careful with that as well, because again, your curl pattern is not the same as everybody else. And I had to learn this the hard way, because I remember showing my beautician this one hairstyle that I wanted when I wanted my hair tapered, which I had a tapered look when I first started. I showed it to my hairstylist and she told me to find another picture. And I was like, but that's the way I want my hair. But the girl whose picture I showed her, her curl pattern was looser. And she was saying, you know, I'm looking at this photo, which again, this is going back to one of my original points. I was looking at this photo of this one girl who does not have my curl pattern and thinking my hair would be cut similar or look the same on me as it did hers, and it realistically, that's not how my hair was going to look. So she told me to find hairstyles with people who look similar to my curl pattern, so that way I can get a better idea of how I'm going to look. I feel like that is the biggest key when you're doing your hair. You're looking at tutorials and stuff, because sometimes I even looking at people putting their hair in, you know, like some Cocoa Puffs or, you know, a bun, a puff, whatever, when you don't have the same hairstyle, I mean, not hairstyle, but the same hair texture, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to turn out like that. So don't get upset and stuff like that. And I feel like that feeds into a little bit of people feeling like, you know, my hair is not beautiful because it doesn't look like the next person. Your hair is beautiful. It is great. You just have to learn how to love it and work with what you have, if that makes sense. So don't be afraid to try new things. Keep in mind, you might not look like that person, and love the process. That's the two best things I could say about going natural. And yes, I do love being natural. I feel like I've gotten more of a confidence, me personally, from being natural. I love my curls and I wouldn't go back. If you want to know more about my journey, just leave comments in the comment section and maybe I'll do another video about that. But don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn your notifications on. And I'll see you next time.